Hi everyone, this is Eric Brown and I'm with Reza Rahmani at Bar 25 in Air, Massachusetts. And we're here, we're going to talk about the story, what they're all about, and I'm really excited to be here, so thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming and doing this.
So you guys are in the soft launch phase right now of the business. Your grand opening is coming up this week, right? That's exciting. So would love to learn more about your story, the food, the bar program here. So for our viewers, what would you want someone walking in that door right now to know about Bar 25 and what's going on here?
Sure. So the way we kind of designed our business from the beginning was we broke it down to about three phases, and our primary focus was our craft cocktail program, and then a distant second was our craft beer, and then after that was the food to kind of complement the first two tiers that we had put together. And basically, the idea behind it was to create something that is familiar, but put a twist on it. And so we wanted to make sure that we give people something that they know, so that they're not afraid of it, but do it better. And at the same time, keep it simple in the sense that don't give some just an extensive menu all around. And so what we did was the focus on the cocktail program was to do a fresh fruit-based, natural-based cocktail. So take someone like an old fashioned or Tom Collins and do it in the best way that possible. I guess in a weird way, make drinking healthy.
Hey, I'm on board with that.
We all obviously we all have experiences drinking, and we know what it does. We know how much we know what we love about it, and what we hate about it. And it's usually the after effect that we hate.
Sure.
And a lot of natural ingredients, they reduce that after effect. So the acidities, the excessive sugars, all that stuff we took out of it. So we created a menu that is very balanced in ingredients, and that way people don't have that massive hangover afterwards and hate themselves for drinking the night before.
Oh, so get in here, everyone. Cool.
And then with the beer program, we obviously wanted to go craft beers. It was actually something that, quite honestly, wasn't something that I had a lot of extensive knowledge in. So we brought Chris over, and he's the beer guru, and he was able to bring us some right off bat some stuff that we would have to really earn our stars to be able to put on tap. He's been running that program for us, and it's been successful. And we're going to actually put a lot of effort behind the advertising this month on it, so people know what we're carrying.
Sure.
And then the third tier being the food, which is purely my menu. Also same thing, just taking a lot of simple things that people grew up eating, making them with all from scratch in house. We have a very small kitchen, but we put together about a 15-item menu. We make everything that we can possibly in house, and paying attention to the quality of the ingredients, texture, taste, portions, and all of it with the thought process of complementing the beers and the cocktail menu.
And so the menu, all these things you put together yourself, or did you bring in outside people to help you?
Most of the food menu I put together for myself. The beer program was Chris was behind it. The cocktail menu, my general manager Alex and I did together. We looked at some different stuff. We actually one of my dear friends who owns a restaurant in Framingham called Bourbon Kitchen. We consulted with him and some of the prototypical drinks that they had on the menu, and we took that idea and then put the ingredients list ourselves together. And then I came up with a portion of the craft cocktails. Alex came up with the other parts of it. And we're continuously have been adding stuff onto it. So some of the stuff we've already taken off because we think that it's not the season for it.
Okay.
And then we replace it with stuff that's more seasonable and more things that the reception has been better on.
So as people keep coming back, they're going to find something new on the menu, and
they definitely will.
Exciting for you and for them, right?
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in that because people essentially come out after all we go out for entertainment. And if it's the same thing over and over, people get, no matter how much they love it, they get sick of it.
Totally.
So we do always want to kind of keep it fresh, keep that going. Even with the food menu, every few months when we come to the seasons, the core items will stay, but some of the items will come off, and we'll put some season items on. When we hit spring and summer, I'm actually going to talk to some of the local farms and try to get some of our items to be farm to table.
That's great.
So yeah, we have a whole agenda of things that we want to follow and continue to do. Chris is continuously, he's already gone through, I think, all 12 beers and has replaced them with different stuff. So we've already completely gone through a whole turnover on the beer program.
And so before, people may have walked by here, this was kind of an empty space or kind of an unknown what's going on in that dark place. And all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, this was actually a lot of hard work over many months, but this popped up. You renovated this entire space, right? Like that's a massive undertaking in itself.
My fourth one.
Your fourth one. Yeah. So let's get into that. Like, how did you find yourself here, and what's your background in terms of the business?
So my parents were in the restaurant business. I grew up in it, and I have three siblings myself. I was the one that always worked with them, so I love the business. Ever since I was a kid, I just loved it. And then as I started to develop kind of my own way and my own tricks in the business, and I grew up, I just kind of through the years developed my sense of what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And so in the past, and I went to college at University of Massachusetts in Amherst.
Okay.
I graduated with a double degree in economics and business. When I came out, naturally I went into the corporate world. Loved what I did, but I just wasn't the same passion that I had for this. So in 2009, I went back to Amherst and opened a restaurant. And then a year later, I opened a nightclub, which I still own.
Okay.
And through the last about 10 years, I've had some restaurants that we've done. All of them have been major build-outs.
Yeah.
The restaurant, the nightclub, all of them. And so bought some stuff, sold some stuff, because some were successful and we just had great offers. Some that because of the nature of business didn't make sense to keep. None of them that were closed, prematurely or sold prematurely, I should say. And some because I've also made a lot of mistakes and learned from them. And so when I came to this project, this was kind of my passion project.
So this is not close to Amherst for anyone else that's watching that doesn't know that. How did that come to be?
After I sold my last restaurant in Boston, I decided that I'm gonna take my time and start scouting my next place. As I said, like for me, it was a passion project.
Okay.
So for about 2 years, I scouted somewhere close to 60 spaces.
Yeah.
And within those, some of them we went into negotiations with, and it just in the 11th hour fell apart.
Sure.
The agent that I've been working with for the last 8 years doing this selling, buying through, he called me and said, I have this great space. Knowing you, I think you should take a look at it. I said, oh, of course. I'm like, where? He said, in Air. I said, where's Air? and so I drove. The next day I drove up, and as I was driving through, I kind of mixed feelings of if this is the right place or not.
Yes.
And then I drove to downtown. At one glance, I was like, I love this downtown.
Yeah, right.
It reminds me of this kind of like a mixture of Western, but yet New England downtown that's been well preserved. And then I drove up, came in, and the first thing I saw was Union Coffee next door. Fell in love with that. Just the people that were going in there, the whole concept, the whole vibe. And then I walked into this, and the base was here, the walls were here, and the bar was here, and the landlord had already put that in place, thinking that he was going to open this himself.
Okay.
And I came in, and this space had just this incredible energy about it, and I loved it. So we had about an hour and a half conversation with the landlord, and at first he said, there's a lot of people that are interested. Most of them want to be partners. Do you want to partner up with me and do this? And I said no. and he was for a second he was taken back, and he said, why not? I said, well, listen, partnerships are difficult to begin with.
Sure.
If partnerships were good, God would have a partner. So to begin with, we have an issue there. But even if we go past that, a partnership is between two people that bring two different set of unique talents to the table.
Right.
And in this case, that doesn't exist. You know, it's not such a massive project where I can't afford it, where I would need your money, and also you're not in the business, so I can you wouldn't be able to have an input in what we do. So in that sense, it doesn't make sense. But I love this space.
Yeah.
And if if we come to an agreement, I'm very interested. So it happened that he really liked that answer.
Yeah.
And so we came to an agreement and we took the space. Obviously, as any build out goes, it went far more longer than I ever had hoped. I think you were, I was hoping to open in October.
Yeah,
right. And here we were in December.
Right.
And before that, I was hoping to open in August.
Yeah.
So you get an idea.
There's the reality of owning a business, though, right? Things
is.
happen,
Yeah.
and you adapt, and you've overcome. So, yeah.
Exactly. And then we took the base of the place. So what he had done with the walls and the bar, and I built around it. So this was the first time that I got to fully design a place myself, fully implement everything the way I wanted. The design was put together by myself. The concept was I put together fully by myself, and it was a great feeling. It was it was something that I was hoping that I had it in me, and so far so good.
That's amazing. So the reception's been great, right? I mean, week over week, we were saying it's busier every time I walk in here.
Yeah, so. It's been a great reception, great community. A little bit, and to be quite honest, because I've been in all sorts of different communities.
Yeah.
This was a little bit different. People are very warm. Obviously, they're very receptive. They compliment extremely well. They tell us where we lack, which we love.
That's great. Yeah. Most people just not tell you, and then they walk out the door and don't come back.
And
right?
they'll write, they'll tell you everything's great, and then they'll write it online. And because that's just the way it goes in the food and beverage business. But the fact that we have that, and it feels like a great support, it's just fantastic. It makes me feel so great to be part of this.
Right. And I think I first heard about you guys actually speaking about online. I think I saw some posts on Instagram, and I think I ended up connecting with Alex. I mean, that's something that a lot of businesses haven't necessarily embraced as well as you have in terms of putting out what's on the menu, getting your name out there, letting people know what you're about before you even open. I mean, that was really a smart move, I think.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's obviously the world that we live in, and people have very easy ways of you can now communicate with people a lot easier than you were ever before.
Sure.
And I still wholeheartedly believe that word of mouth is still the greatest advertisement you have. But the tools that we have in our hand, we use it well, and social media is definitely a phenomenal tool for that.
So for someone who has, I'll say, the crazy idea, wanting to open up their own place, right? Because that seems a dream of many. But the reality is that it's not as easy as it may seem. You probably make it seem a lot easier because you have a lot of experience, right? So what are some key lessons that someone could take away as an owner? Yeah.
I mean, it's such a great question. It's a question I don't know the last time I've been to a gathering, a party, or any other side where this question doesn't come up. Somebody is like, I always wanted to own my own bar. I always wanted to own my own restaurant, and I always say, don't do it, and they always kind of get shocked.
Yeah.
People obviously. Throughout time, I think people romanticize this business a lot. They see something cool on TV. They see these chefs, these phenomenal chefs on some of these reality shows, and they're like, "This is what I want. I really don't want to be doing what I'm doing." And the reality of it is that the background, what it takes to do this business is very difficult. And because it's a business that is a lot more work than reward, you really have to have a passion for it. And people think the passion is like if they cook a meal for a group of people at home, that qualifies opening a restaurant, but they discount that, and you have to hire employees, and that group now, you have to serve 50 of them in a night.
Yeah,
you got to keep the same consistency, and the same attitude, and you have to be able to manage, most importantly, the employees, which is usually the most difficult part of this business.
Right. And
as I said, consistency. And if you miss it once, people will go right about it. As it goes, I always tell people, I said 9 out of 10 people that have a great experience never write about it. 9 out of 10 people that have a bad experience will write about it.
Right.
And there are so many stresses that are involved in it. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, but you should take into account everything. So I always tell people, like, you want to open a restaurant, go somewhere and become a dishwasher.
Yeah.
And start washing dishes and start moving through and see if you really want, because if you want to open a restaurant, you should know how to do that part and move up and do the other parts, and then have a great understanding of the business side of it. If you want to open a bar, be a bar back.
Right.
Because those are the two backbones of the restaurant and bar business that is the worst positions. And you get to know all the heartaches that are associated with that.
And I can say that, like, I mean, owners who've been there with a dishwasher that's walked out for any reason, or maybe even called in sick. I mean, everything comes to a halt when you don't have that team supporting the entire operation. So.
Absolutely, and you have to take that into account when you open your doors. You can't in the restaurant business. The other thing I would tell my manager Alex is, I said, you always think about the worst case scenarios. You never think about the best case scenarios, because the worst always does happen. And if you're prepared for it, perfect. If you're not, is when everything falls apart. And in this business, when it falls apart, it's a domino effect.
Right.
So, yeah, it's absolutely right. So, I guess in short, as I said, look at the statistics of this. There's a reason why they say this is the most volatile business in the United States.
Right.
There's a reason behind that. And look, if you're gonna do it, make sure you do your homework.
Well, I really appreciate your time. We were talking about earlier, just the way it's set up. I mean, it's a warm environment. I mean, you have amazing artwork on the walls.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily want to spoil people by just showing them right now, but I think you should come in here and see it.
No, we should also say that the artwork was done by Sam Frack, who grew up in Westford and is an incredibly talented artist. And we did one mural for us, and I can't let him go. I keep on adding more murals to this because it's just so good. So I want to make sure we talk about him as well.
And so now this week, planning for the grand opening. I mean, anything for that? Like, what's that going to look like for you, or just business as usual, but officially you're open?
We've been pretty much business as usual. We actually have kind of quietly gone into our grand opening. What we did in our what is coined the soft opening. Yeah. What we did was, because the space had never been a bar or a restaurant before, we actually didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. So we had to become acquainted to the space, just like our guests had to become acquainted to it. So what we started off was very limited menu, and every day we added one item to the menu, and until we've gotten out to our full menu. So quite honestly, we've already kind of had our grand opening.
Right.
But basically, a lot of it is going to be business as usual. There are 2 phases that we're going to do this week. There's a ribbon cutting ceremony through the Chamber of Commerce in the town. That's going to happen on Thursday afternoon. Cool. And we're going to have some hors d'oeuvres and a couple of cocktails to pass around to people, so people get an idea of what we do, and for us to be able to talk to the people that haven't been in here. And then the second one is a friends and family gathering on a week from today. Okay. We're going to have some of my friends and family come in. They've been wanting to see the place. I said, stay away till I'm in a place where I can do this. So, and I feel like now we're kind of there. So it's kind of 2 phases, and after that we just go.
That's great.
Full force.
That's exciting. I'm excited for you guys. The reception's been great too. I mean, your staff has been so friendly and accommodating when I've come in here. So I'll definitely be back, and I recommend you all check it out too.
Thank you.
So, thanks
for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it.
All right. See you soon.
Thanks,